The air in the Bennett dining room feels like glass about to shatter. Ava's hands tremble beneath the tablecloth as she whispers the words she's rehearsed for nights. I'm pregnant. Silence falls. Her mother's fork clinks. Her father doesn't blink. The chandelier hums above them, fragile and cold. Margaret's voice slices through. You will not ruin this family. Charles leans back, his jaw like stone. They talk of disappointment, shame, image, never love. Ava's heartbeat grows louder than their anger. She realizes something horrifying. She's not asking for permission. She's announcing her freedom. Yet when her father stands and says, choose us or that mistake, the room tilts. The family portrait behind them looks suddenly foreign. Ava stands, her voice breaking but steady. Then, I choose myself. Outside, the night feels like freedom laced with frost. Ava stands on the driveway, breath visible, the mansion behind her glowing like a ghost. The weight of years slips off her shoulders, one heartbeat at a time. She thinks of Liam, of the tiny heartbeat growing inside her, and of the silence she's walking into. Somewhere in the distance, church bells ring. She doesn't cry this time. She just walks. Shoes echoing on stone, leaving the world that demanded she be perfect. For the first time, she's choosing imperfection, love, and herself. The city hums as Ava sits in Liam's car, the world blurring outside the window. Liam's hand finds hers, warm and steady. You sure? He asks softly. Ava nods, tears in her voice, but not in her eyes. They wanted me to choose, she says. And I did. He doesn't speak again, just drives. The headlights slice through the night like new beginnings. And for the first time, Ava feels the fear settle into strength. They arrive at Liam's apartment, small, warm, imperfect. Ava steps inside and exhales for the first time. The air smells of coffee and paint, not judgment. There's no grandeur, just peace. She looks around at the mismatched furniture, the photo of them taped on the fridge, and smiles. This isn't the life her parents imagined. It's better. Later that night, Ava lies awake, hand on her belly. The hum of the city outside feels like a lullaby. She wonders what kind of mother she'll be, what kind of daughter she stopped being. The silence doesn't scare her anymore. It comforts her. Because for the first time in her life, it's hers. Morning sunlight spills through the thin curtains of Liam's apartment, painting stripes across Ava's tired face. The city hums outside. Alive, impatient, indifferent. She holds a small ultrasound photo, its grayscale blur shaping the truth she's chosen. Fear claws at her ribs, but love steadies her. The phone buzzes on the table. Mom! Flashing again and again. But she doesn't answer. Instead, she places the photo on the counter beside a chipped mug and whispers to herself, "Well, be okay." The world may have turned its back, but inside that tiny apartment, something pure and unbreakable is beginning. Weeks pass. The baby bump grows. So does the silence from her parents. Ava sends one last letter. Not to ask for forgiveness, but to tell them she's keeping the child. She drops it in the mailbox, her heart pounding, and walks away without looking back. The envelope is pale blue, her handwriting trembling but steady. She knows they might never open it. Still, she needed to send it, to prove to herself that love doesn't always need approval to exist. Liam works long hours, painting houses to save for their future. Ava spends her days preparing, folding baby clothes, humming to the life growing inside her. Some nights she cries quietly into her pillow, missing the comfort of her mother's voice, but knowing she can't go back. She writes names in a notebook. Ella, Grace, Hope. Each name feels like a promise to herself, a reminder that she is building something no one can take away. Ava's belly is round now. Liam kneels, resting his head against her, whispering stories of the future, of playgrounds, laughter, and messy breakfasts. They laugh together softly, like two people learning to breathe again. Outside, rain taps against the window. Ava closes her eyes, feeling the baby move, realizing that this, not her parents' approval, is home. The letter never comes. Ava realizes one morning that she hasn't thought about it for days. Standing by the window, she watches sunlight spill across the street and smiles faintly. Her parents chose silence, and she chooses peace. She presses her hand to her belly and whispers, "It's just us now." In that moment, she understands that family isn't who stays when things are perfect. It's who holds on when the world falls apart. The hospital room is cold and humming with machines. Ava's fingers clutch the bedsheet as another contraction rips through her. Liam squeezes her hand, whispering, "Almost there." Sweat beads on her forehead. Tears blur her vision. For a moment, she thinks she hears her mother's voice, a phantom whisper of comfort. But when she looks up, there's only fluorescent light. One more push, one more scream, one more breath. And then silence, broken by the cry that changes everything. Ava sobs with relief. Her child's first cry fills the space her parents left behind. Days blur together. The baby, Ella, barely sleeps. Ava paces through the apartment at 3 a.m., humming lullabies she half remembers. Liam snores softly on the couch, worn from work and worry. The city beyond the window twinkles like distant stars. Her body aches, her eyes burn. Yet when she looks at Ella's tiny face, peace settles over her. She whispers, "You're my reason." The room feels small, but her love fills it completely. Months pass. Bills pile up. Liam's hands are blistered from work and Ava's from endless diapers and dishes. Some nights they fight in whispers, afraid to wake the baby. She feels the ache of loneliness gnawing again. The absence of her parents' voices when she could use guidance. Yet, in those fragile moments, Ella giggles, and the sound repairs what words break. It reminds Ava that love isn't perfect. It's patient. Ava takes Ella for a walk in the park. The world feels wide again. Children playing, dogs barking, strangers smiling. She watches other parents laugh together and feels a pang in her chest. But then Ella squeals, pointing at a butterfly. Ava laughs too, realizing that she's not missing out on family. She's building one. The loneliness fades like fog under sunlight. Her world, though small, is finally enough. That night, after Ella falls asleep, Ava sits by the window holding an old photo of her parents. She doesn't cry this time. The anger has cooled into quiet acceptance. "You made me strong," she whispers. The city lights reflect in her eyes, tiny galaxies of forgiveness she may never send. She places the photo back in the drawer and watches her sleeping child. There is no emptiness left, only peace. Years slip by quietly, like pages turning in a book Ava never meant to write, but now treasures. The apartment has changed. Brighter walls, laughter echoing through the rooms. Ella toddles around, leaving crayon marks on everything sacred. Ava works from home now, designing greeting cards that sell more feelings than paper. Life isn't easy, but it's hers. Each morning, when Ella crawls into her lap with messy hair and sleepy eyes, Ava knows she made the right choice. Love didn't need her parents' permission. It needed her courage. At the playground, Ella races toward the swings, shouting for Ava to push higher. Ava laughs, that deep, effortless kind of laugh that once felt impossible. Other parents watch with polite smiles, but she doesn't care anymore. She's not measuring herself against anyone. She's present, Her daughter's joy is enough. The wind tangles their laughter with sunlight, and for the first time in years, Ava feels not just alive, but free. Later that evening, Ava tucks Ella into bed. "Tell me a story," Ella pleads. Ava smiles, inventing tales about a brave little girl and her mama who faced dragons and found their own castle. Halfway through, Ella falls asleep, tiny fingers curled around Ava's hand. Ava lingers, brushing hair from her daughter's forehead. In her heart, she whispers gratitude to the silence, to every storm that brought her here. One morning, Ava receives an email. A local art fair wants to feature her designs. Her hands shake as she reads it twice, disbelief giving way to pride. For years, she doubted her worth beyond motherhood. Now she's building something of her own. Liam hugs her from behind, murmuring, "Told you the world would see you?" She laughs through tears. It's not about success. It's about finally feeling seen. That night, after the house quiets, Ava steps onto the balcony. The city glows below, a sea of moving lights. She thinks of her parents, wondering if they ever glance at the same sky. But for the first time, the thought doesn't hurt. It just exists. She breathes deeply, whispering to the night, "I'm okay." Somewhere inside, a voice answers, her own, strong and sure. She smiles, knowing she's finally learned to live without permission. It begins with a letter. Cream envelope, elegant handwriting. No return address, but she knows before opening. Her hands tremble. 6 years of silence crack in one breath. Inside, "We would like to see you and meet our granddaughter." Ava stares at the words, unable to breathe. Liam finds her frozen in the kitchen, letter trembling in her hand. "What will you do?" he asks softly. Ava's voice barely escapes. "I don't know. The past she buried is knocking again, polite, painful, and real." That night, Ava sits by the window reading the letter again. Margaret's words are polite, almost gentle, but every sentence drips with the weight of years lost. Charles didn't write. He never does. Ava thinks of the night she walked out, the silence that followed, and wonders if forgiveness has an expiration date. Liam joins her, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. "You don't owe them anything," he murmurs. She nods, but can't shake the ache of the child, still wanting her parents to love her back. Days pass before Ava answers. Her message is simple. You can meet her. The words feel strange, heavy with unspoken terms. When she tells Liam, he exhales in relief and worry at once. Ella overhears and claps with excitement. "I have grandparents?" Ava smiles faintly, but doesn't answer. In her heart, she knows this meeting isn't for reconciliation. It's for closure. Still, part of her fears what 6 years of silence will look like in person. The meeting is set for Sunday at the park. Neutral ground. Ava arrives early, heart hammering. Ella runs ahead toward the swings, her laughter cutting through Ava's fear. When Margaret and Charles appear at the park entrance, they look smaller somehow. Time has softened them, but their eyes carry old ghosts. Margaret clutches her purse like a shield. Charles' gaze is unsure. Ava stands tall, steady. No longer the daughter who begged to be seen. The silence between them says everything. Margaret's eyes fill when she finally sees Ella up close. "She looks like you," she whispers, voice trembling. Charles stands back, hands in pockets, watching. Ava kneels beside her daughter, introducing her carefully, like revealing something sacred. Ella smiles shyly and offers Margaret a flower she picked moments ago. No words could bridge 6 years of distance, yet that tiny gesture cracks the wall. Margaret accepts it, tears spilling freely. For the first time, Ava doesn't feel like the child who left. She feels like the woman who chose right. The next Sunday, Ava invites them for tea. The apartment feels too small for so much history. Margaret walks in first, eyes scanning every corner, as if measuring the life her daughter built without her. Charles follows quietly, shoulders stiff, the smell of old cologne blending with the scent of fresh coffee. Ella rushes to show them her drawings, her voice bright against the awkward silence. Ava watches, unsure whether this is healing or reopening wounds. When Margaret finally says, "You've done well," Ava hears everything unsaid. Better than we expected, better without us. Conversation drips in fragments. Weather, work, Ella's school. No mention of the 6 years lost. Ava answers politely, voice steady but detached. Margaret compliments the curtains, the tea, anything but the life she rejected. Charles watches Ella laugh and seems to shrink into silence. Then, softly, Margaret says, "You were always too stubborn. But maybe that's what made you strong." Ava looks up, startled. The words are an apology, but there's something. A small door creaking open after years of being locked. Later, Charles asks if he can take a walk with Ava. The request surprises her. They step outside, the air crisp and quiet. He clears his throat twice before speaking. "I wasn't angry at you," he admits, eyes down. "I was afraid." Ava doesn't respond. He continues, voice trembling. "Afraid you'd make the same mistakes we did. And maybe afraid you wouldn't need us anymore." Ava blinks back tears. For the first time, her father looks smaller than she remembers. Not the man who demanded perfection, but one finally learning to forgive himself. When they return, Margaret sits on the floor with Ella, helping her glue paper stars onto a cardboard moon. Ava watches from the doorway, heart twisting. This image, her mother laughing softly, hair slightly undone, feels impossible and healing all at once. For a moment, she sees not the woman who exiled her, but a grandmother rediscovering gentleness. The past doesn't vanish, but the sharpness dulls. Sometimes forgiveness isn't spoken. It's built quietly in moments like this, one paper star at a time. That night after they leave, Ava stands at the door for a long time. The apartment is quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and Ella's soft snoring from her room. Liam wraps his arms around her. "You okay?" he whispers. Ava nods, tears finally spilling. "Yeah," she says. "For the first time, I think we all might be." The wound isn't gone, but it no longer controls her. What once broke her family has now made her whole. A month later, Ava drives to her parents' house alone. The sky is overcast, the kind that holds both endings and beginnings. She sits in the car for a moment, staring at the home she once fled from. The windows look smaller, the gate less intimidating. Inside, she knows her parents are waiting. Not for confrontation, but something quieter. She takes a breath and steps out, not as the daughter who left in defiance, but as the woman who returned on her own terms. Forgiveness isn't surrender, it's release. Margaret opens the door before Ava can knock. No words, just a trembling exhale. They stand face to face, two women who once lived in opposition and now mirror each other's pain. "You don't have to stay," Margaret whispers. "I want to," Ava replies. The simplicity of it undoes them both. In the dining room, Charles waits with tea already poured, the same table where everything once broke. This time, there's no chandelier humming like judgment, only quiet. They sit together, the tea cooling between them. Words come slowly, awkwardly, then freely. Margaret admits she was cruel. Charles says he didn't know how to protect her without control. Ava listens, tears streaming silently. "You hurt me," she says softly, "but you also taught me what kind of mother not to be." The truth hangs heavy, yet freeing. Margaret reaches across the table, hesitating before touching Ava's hand. It's the first honest touch between them in years, one that doesn't demand, only asks. Hours later, Ava drives home. The sky clears as she nears the city, sunlight breaking through clouds like a benediction. When she walks in, Ella runs to her, arms wide, shouting, "Mommy." Ava lifts her daughter high, laughing through tears. Liam watches from the doorway, smile soft. She whispers into Ella's curls, "We're okay, baby. We're finally okay." And for the first time, she truly believes it. That night, after Ella sleeps, Ava writes a letter, not to her parents but to herself. You did it. You chose love. You chose love. You chose you. She folds it and tucks it into the same box that once held her parents' letter, sealing her story with grace. Outside, the city hums quietly. She steps onto the balcony, looking at the stars, whispering a final goodbye to the girl who once begged to belong. Now, she doesn't need permission. She simply is.